I'll tell you a story today from way back in my teaching days. Right before I went to law school, I worked as a special education teacher in a public middle school in Arlington, Virginia. That was 30 years ago. They were known for having a gang presence in that area. And one of my students was well known to be in a gang, and he was from a different country, can't remember which one, a Latin American country. And he was large for his age. He was a big guy, and I think he probably should have been in high school, but they put him in middle school because of the language barrier and all of that. So I think that's really what was going on there. And I'm just going to call him John. That was not his real name, but John did not like to work. John did not really want to do very much for me. And, I thought that it was because of the language barrier. Maybe he wasn't very literate. And I was trying to work with him, but he was kind of a tough customer. And I had some very sweet students in that classroom, but I also had a couple of tough customers. I had one boy who liked to stand on his desk and swing a camera around over his head in the air, if you could imagine this. So that's what I came into. I started teaching in the middle of the school year. I took this job. And the outgoing teacher was not the best in terms of classroom management, shall we say. So I inherited quite a situation and I had to get it under control, which I did. One of the things that I did was to start every class period with classical music playing in the background. And the students had a journal entry that they would come in and write. And that was kind of my way of helping them get into the groove of learning, especially when they came in after lunch. So the class after lunch, as probably almost any teacher will tell you, is the hardest class of the day usually, because they come in all hopped up on sugar and they're all, talking and having fun and whatever in the cafeteria. And then that energy level spills over and it's hard for them to kind of settle down and get back to work in the classroom. So my class was no different. And many of them actually enjoyed the journal writing activity. So I would give them a fun topic to write about. It was always something that I thought would be of interest to them. And, to some more than others. So some topics might be more appealing to boys as a general rule. Other topics might be more appealing to girls as a general rule. But I tried to be gender neutral and just come up with things that they could talk about. And some days I would give them a free choice so they could just write about anything that they wanted. And one particular day, not that long after I'd been there, I had my classical music playing. It was the class after lunch. It was John's class period. And they had a journal topic. Honestly, I don't even remember what the topic was, but whatever it was really appealed to John. And for the first time, John decided to actually open up his journal and really give me something substantial. And for him, substantial might have been like 4 or 5 sentences, but most other days it might have just been a couple of words or maybe nothing at all. So I made a really big deal out of John's journal entry. And the other thing that I used to do is I had students come up to the front of the classroom and read their journal entry to us, and the rest of us would be good audience members and we would applaud for them. And this was to give students practice with public speaking to help them get over that fear of public speaking that most of us have. It was reading practice. It was an opportunity for students to learn how to be good, attentive audience members, how to give each other positive feedback. And it also provided kind of a lift, for the students who are being clapped for. So it shows them that they can be successful in school and that their peers approve of them. And it was just really a good thing to do for them educationally, emotionally, and socially. So that's what we did every single day. On that particular day, for the first time ever, John decided he wanted to share his journal entry. He was really proud of what he had written. I had made a big deal about it. And that was the perfect day for him to get up in front of the class and read his journal entry. Now, John, remember, was affiliated with the gang. He wore the gang colors to school. He had the bandanas, the whole thing. So John is up in front of the class reading his journal entry. And at that exact moment, my principal decided to walk in and do an unannounced observation on his new special education teacher. And when he came into my room and he saw that John was speaking and reading his journal entry in front of the classroom, he looked at me, he smiled, And he turned around and he walked right out because he knew John was a tough cookie and he knew that I had my class under control. I hate to say under control, but from a classroom management point of view, that's kind of the language that we say. Doesn't mean I controlled every move that they made, but I didn't have students standing on desks spinning cameras over their head. Okay. So at any rate, so that was a really positive day for John. It was a positive, very positive experience for him. Now, there was another day when John did something that he should not have done. I don't remember what it was. But I said to him at the time, I need to see you after school today for detention. And John said to me, I'm going to get my gang on you. And I said to him, well, you do what you need to do, but I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'll see you for detention today. I did not think John was going to come serve that detention, but John did. John came and he stayed after school. I let his mother know that he was staying after school for detention, and he served his detention. Now, let me tell you, every single day for the rest of that school year, as I walked to my car in the parking lot, I was looking over my shoulder, expecting to get jumped by John's gang. Luckily, I'm happy to report that it never happened, but he did instill some fear in me, and I'm sure that was exactly his intention. That was 30 years ago. So these days, I don't know how some of these teachers do it. It's a scary world out there. And we love our students. We want to think the best of them, but some of them are dangerous. And my life is just as valuable as anybody else's, and I don't want to lose it. So that was not the happiest ending. I don't know where John is today. I hope that he is alive and well and following the law and living a happy, productive life. I hope that maybe something I taught him at some point during that portion of the school year made a difference for him, that he at least had one positive day where we were all applauding for him and praising him and showing him that he could be a successful learner, and that maybe that little tiny glimmer of positivity perhaps impacted him in some kind of way. So that's my story about John. To be continued. More stories coming. Thanks for watching.